So I gotta start by saying the scene with Migs Mayfeld with the Imperial officer was one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. It was. It was so well acted. I loved it so much. They gave Migs Mayfeld a better former Stormtrooper story arc than they did Finn, and that's so sad, but they did, just with that one scene. It was incredible. That being said, I'm so freaking happy we have action figure representations from that episode. I was worried that we wouldn't, but I'm happy that we do. And yes, you are seeing it correctly, I got 2 of each, because, I mean, I needed Migs, and I needed Din, and I needed the tank drivers, because I guess I needed them. I mean, I didn't, but here we are, I bought them anyway. So, these are really cool figures. Unfortunately, they reuse some pieces I wasn't really expecting them to reuse, but I should have seen it coming. They're really nice, though, regardless. I really do like these, and I decided to review them together, even though Migs Mayfeld is a Target exclusive in the US, and Djarin is a retail release. It's kind of interesting, Migs Mayfeld is just Migs Mayfeld, but Djarin is Djarin Morak, even though I'm sure we'll get a normal Migs Mayfeld from Season 1 at some point, because they've already promised us they'll make every single figure that interacted with the Razor Crest, and Migs was in the Razor Crest. So hopefully that happens. It's happening in 6-inch. Anyways, I'm rambling. I always ramble. Let's go over the Migs Mayfeld card because it's nice. Not much to say because, I mean, it's a TVC card back. I like the red. I like the picture. I think it's a really good image they chose. Overall, I just think it's nice. I do have Casca. I'm going to wait to review her until I get Axe, though, so be patient. I just think it would make more sense to review them together because basically she's just her with a new head. So, there's Migs Mayfeld's card. Let's bring him in and take a look. So this Migs Mayfeld figure is really good, but I do have to talk about one issue that I had with it. There's a variation. This picture you're seeing on the left is the Migs you're seeing now in the package alongside a Migs Mayfeld with a red bicep band. That red bicep band is not accurate to Migs Mayfeld's costume. That's accurate to Djarin's costume, as you see here. Djarin had the red officer band, or it's just a rank badge, I'm not really sure, while Migs just had green. That's really... that's irritating that was a variation. The reason why I ended up with both and I don't have a red Migs now is because when I ordered these on Target.com, I got the red band and I was like, ah man, I want the green. And I walked into my local Target and they had the green, which was awesome. So I just bought the green ones and I returned the red ones to Target. And I was like, hey, there's nothing wrong. Just letting you know. There's slight variation. They were like, yeah, it's all good. You dork. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that that's a variation that we have to worry about if you want a show-accurate Migs. And like me, if you want a tank driver, because, see, I wanted, different tank drivers because they have the different biceps, and I think it'd be cool to have a couple tank drivers. It's kind of disappointing that, I had to do that, but hey, at least I found it. I'm surprised I did. My Target had a whole peg full of Migs Mayfeld. Yeah, let's move Din back a little bit, because we need to talk about this incredible head sculpt. Vintage Collection is getting so good with these heads. That looks exactly like Bill Burr. That is wild. I'd love to see Bill Burr actually get a hold of this figure, and I'd love to see what he thinks about the likeness, because that is really incredible. That is so good. And the rest of the armor, too, I love the weathering. It looks really nice. This is just a nice freaking figure, man. It's really good. It wants to detect Djarin's face. Let's not do that. I actually turned off the face detection for this at first because I'm like, these faces are so realistic. I'm worried my camera's going to struggle. But then I realized that the face detection is linked with the autofocus tracking, so I couldn't do that. But yeah, the details are really nice. Unfortunately, though, from the waist down, that's where the issues begin, because it reuses the legs of the Shore Trooper that I just discussed in my Vintage Collection Shore Trooper video, where the knee articulation is really bad. I mean, it has the disc hinges, which is fine, but the knees are really bad on this. And it doesn't even have the ankle pivot either. So that's unfortunate. I really wish that they would have figured something better out with the legs. But hey, I mean, if that's what they had to do to get us these, I can't really complain. And like I said, I'm hoping we can get a retool of this figure at some point here soon. But yeah, this Migs looks incredible. It looks really nice. Let's see what it looks like with the helmet on. So we can see with the helmet, it looks really nice. feel like this helmet actually has a little bit of an overbleed on the paint there. But yeah, it just looks nice, dude. I love having it as just a standard tank driver. I think that's cool. I like how they reuse the hover tank helmets too. And these are a new sculpt because the old helmet had like a little bit of a dip in it, and this has no sign of that. I'll probably end up using, let me check. Yeah, the paint on my unhelmeted one was a little bit better, so I'm going to go ahead and use this one for my helmeted driver. So yeah, the articulation is really nice. You can see the ball joint is really good on the head there. For the rest of the body, the shoulders are on nice clicky hinges, and the elbows are pretty nice. You get about 90 degrees. This does seem to be a older sculpt as well in some ways, because it has the in and out at that hand, but it has the up and down at this one, so that's good at least. It does have a little bit of a ball at the waist there, and like I showed, it does have the old disc hinges for the hips, thigh swivel, knee bend. It's got the ball hinged ankles. So unfortunately it's dated from the waist down, but from the waist up it's pretty on par with what we would expect nowadays. I'm just happy to not only get Migs Mayfeld and Djarin from this episode, but also to add to my Imperial ranks a little bit. So with Migs Mayfeld out of the way, here's Djarin. That likeness to Pedro Pascal is something else. That looks really, really good. That is really good. Oh my gosh. Color me surprised, because that is very, very nice. Oh my gosh. That's really good. It's funny, these faces are so good, my camera really wants to pick them up as real faces. And I mean, can you blame it? Look at the quality on these. These, man, Vintage Collection's getting really close to being little mini Hot Toys when it comes to these likenesses. These are really incredible. Those are so nice. There's not a lot of differences with the figures other than the red band. You can even see the weathering on the armor is pretty much identical. It's just the bands and the heads. I do believe the skin tone, yeah, the skin tones are mildly different because Pedro does have a darker skin tone. Yeah, man, these look so good. These look so good. And bringing in our tank driver duo here, you can see the paint's pretty much the same on those two, even though I feel like the quality of the black visor on the Djarin version is a little better than on the Migs Mayfeld. But still, I'm happy to add to my Imperial troops, and I'm happy to get these. There is one final thing I wanted to talk about. The Mud Trooper. So yeah, this armor is very, very similar to the Mud Trooper. Some of the only differences are the belt. This one has more of a kind of traditional, like, Imperial Army belt, and this one has more of like a, you know, tiny pouch belt. And that's kind of it. It's the helmet, obviously. Yeah, you can see the differences in the armor are very minimal, if much of anything at all. So I'm really hoping that Hasbro, you know, does a little bit of a swap-me-do, maybe a little new helmet, maybe a little bit of a cape. That'd be really nice. Yeah, I really want Mud Troopers in TVC. They're some of my favorite Imperial troops. So there we go. There is my look at the Vintage Collection hover tank, not really hover tank, just tank driver disguised versions of Migs Mayfeld and Djarin from Morak. These figures are great. This video has been a little irritating though, because the likenesses are so great that my face detection on my camera has really been super confused. These are some of the best likenesses I think TVC has ever brought us. They are spectacular. I highly recommend these figures, for sure. Go get them. Do you need 2 of each? Maybe, if you want to have, you know, Migs and Din, and then also just some tank drivers to have if you're crazy like me and you have a whole lineup of different Imperial troopers. But I'm so happy with these. These are absolutely stellar. Love them, love them, love them. Go get them. Alrighty guys, I think I've rambled on long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special shout out to the patrons of Patreon as always. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Alrighty, there we go. Have a good one guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.